We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the ground we stand on and thank them for allowing Papa to tell stories on these glorious lands we share.
Hello and welcome to Three Food Memories with me, Savas. For longer than I can poke a stick at, my company Plated has catered bloody delicious experiences for some of Australia's most extravagant and intimate soirees. Food connects us. It connects us to people, to places and to moments in time. These memories shape who we are and where we've come from. So come and break bread with my guests and I as they reveal far more about themselves than what they've tasted. Our guest on this episode of Three Food Memories is a stand-up comedian, writer and actor, and master of improvisation. She also plays the flute. Did you learn that in band camp?
Wait, how do you know this? Yes, I do play the flute. I played in middle school and high school, and I loved band. Band was the best.
Her writing has been published in The New Yorker, Weekly Humorist, and more. With a Bachelor of Business Admin and a stint at marketing, she is in the business of knowing what the market wants. To have a good laugh. She's funny, she's cool, and she surfs, which makes her even cooler. Ellen Harrold, Surfs Up, welcome to Three Food Memories.
Wow, that was the nicest intro ever. And you brought back my flute memories and my marketing stint at the University of Colorado, which I forget about until the student loans are due every month, and then I remember.
How did you get into surfing? Because that's my attraction with you.
Yeah, I grew up on the East Coast in South Jersey near Atlantic City, and most people don't think of New Jersey as a place that has waves. But yeah, in the summer, there's really good surf. And I mean, in the winter, there's good surf too, but it's super, super cold. Like sometimes there's snow on the beach and I'm not really about all that life. But yeah, just grew up at the beach all day, every day in the summer because my mom was a school teacher and my dad, was a lifeguard on the beach patrol and stuff. So we were a very beachy family. Yeah, been surfing ever since I was little and then moved to LA and just got more into it with like the different boards and like now here I'm surfing in the winter with the wetsuit and no snow, but it's still so cold. The water's very cold. I don't know how it is in Australia. Is the water's warm there, right? Or
the
sometimes
water
it gets
is
cold.
Great. We have a lot of winter swimmers here. In fact, if you head down to some of our beaches along the Sydney coast, they're always busy.
Yeah.
We've spoken to a few comedians over the time here at TFM. We love having them on board.
Great.
But let's start with your first food memory, and that is eating chicken wings out of the back of your mom's minivan, starving.
So this story happened when I was younger. I think I was like college aged or something like that. And I must have been like home for the summer or something like that. And I was going through a time when I was sort of more restrictive about my eating. I was dieting and it's not something that I do anymore, but I definitely had a bit of like disordered eating as a young girl. And I know a lot of peers of mine went through the same sort of thing and a lot of people who still are struggling through things like this. But I just remember because I hadn't really eaten much all day. I think I was being very restrictive about my eating. And then my mom and I were going to get like takeout from our favorite wing place or something. And we had ordered the food and we had it in the car. My mom put it like in the trunk and then we were driving home and I was like, I think I told her I was so hungry. I was like, Mom, I'm so hungry. Like, can I please eat it in the car? And she's like, no, like just wait till we get home. And I was like, I'm so hungry, like pull over. And I guess she must have. And so I opened up the trunk and I was standing there like eating these wings out of the trunk of her car. And I was literally thinking that I looked normal, like a normal person, like, oh, I'm just eating. And she's like, Ellen, you're like a friggin' dog. Like, what the hell? Like, why are you so? And so I think it's it's a funny story to me because it's like, yeah, I just thought that was normal behavior, but obviously it was not. And my mom is always very good at pointing out not only my table manners, but just other flaws as well, as moms are known to do. But yeah, she sort of helped me see some of my behaviors and patterns and stuff. And so I no longer have any of that mindset about food. I've done a lot of work to shift the mindset and eat normally and eat enough and nourish my body and all of that. But I just thought that was a funny story to make light of a past with an eating disorder.
So disordered eating is very common in young girls, and the age is getting younger and younger, isn't it?
Yeah, and staying with older and older women. Like I know my friends' moms or grandmoms even still have these food rules and diets and stuff.
If we were to pinpoint that to something, and there's some obvious, there's lots and lots of stuff in the media about it, but if we were to pinpoint it to one thing, what was it for you?
I would say it's a sense of control, right? So if you're like, if I can't control all these other external things that are happening in my life, let's say like what school I'm going to get into, or, oh, my parents are getting a divorce, or like whatever. There's all these like external things that you can't control in your life, but I can control my calorie intake and my exercise schedule, and I can try to control the look of my body or the appearance of my body. So I think it's that sort of obsession or intrigue with control and playing with control.
What was that moment for you that you were like, you know what? I really want to nourish my body. I owe it to this gift that I've been given to look after it. What was the turning point for you, Ellen?
Yeah, there were a few turning points because it's not a linear healing path. So there were so many moments that I had aha moments. But I guess one that I'm thinking of is I took this program, and I guess I'll shout her out. There's a girl named Yael Guten who runs a program. It's called On Your Body's Team. So it's designed to help you do exactly that and get on your body's team instead of being against it. She had this 10-week intensive like program that was on Zoom, and we'd meet once a week. It was me and these other women on Zoom, and she had these like journal prompts that we would have completed throughout the week, or these podcasts that we would listen to, these videos that we would watch, learning exercise, like whatever thing that we were focusing on for that week. And then we would talk about it in the Zoom, but it would literally change my mindset on food and my body, like 180 degrees, like from like, I do not think the same way about food at all. And she starts with having you unlearn a lot of your food rules that you have. So everybody has food rules, even if you don't have a disordered eating pattern really, or you don't think you do. Everybody has these little things that go off in the back of their head, like, oh, I should only have one carb on my plate, let's say, or, oh, I shouldn't eat after the sun goes down, things like that. And so she started us by just write all of those down as they come to you, and you're gonna like throw those out the door basically by the end of this. But I thought that was really interesting to see how many like actual rules or beliefs I had around food.
And tell me, what's your relationship like with your body now and food and your body? So you're in a ménage à trois. Your body and food. How are you guys going?
We're going great. I exercise like almost every day, but not because it's like I have to exercise. It's just because it makes me feel better. I love to surf. I teach yoga as well. So I work at a number of gyms and studios teaching, and then I'll also like take the classes that are there. I'll take different workout classes or yoga classes or something. And then with the food, it's like I just eat whatever I want, which is not something that
not
I
out
would...
the back of a trunk.
Exactly, yeah, and yeah, even if it is out of the back of a trunk, that's for a good reason. It's because I want to do that, not because I'm so starving that I have no other choice. So that feels good to have some freedom there and some adventure. But yeah, I eat whatever I want, which is like not something that I thought that I'd be able to like say or do.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah.
Now, you have an acute way of interpreting people's personality. You've written, I've read a couple of articles where you can sort of work out who a person is or where they've come from where they sit on a plane to the type of milk they put in their coffee. How important is it to you to know your audience during a stand-up piece? Because you can't ask them where they sit on a plane before they walk in the door.
Right.
And you don't necessarily know what's in their coffee cup.
That's true. I don't know either of those things. And you don't know anything about the people in the crowd when you are performing stand-up, which is the challenge, I guess, of doing stand-up. And that's also why it's so gratifying to go on stage and say a sentence. Like the room is silent. There's nothing happening except for people are sitting in chairs and they're facing you and you're standing there with a microphone, and out of this nothingness you'll say one thing that makes everybody make a noise, which is laughter. So I think that being able to do that without knowing anything about the people is what makes stand-up so hard and therefore so gratifying when you do get it right. Like when you do make people laugh. But then when you don't, when you're bombing or something doesn't land and they don't laugh, it's just you've learned something about your joke or about this crowd specifically. Like I've had jokes that do well in one room and then the next night I'll do the joke the same exact way and they don't laugh. And maybe that doesn't mean that the joke should be thrown out. Oh, it didn't work that one time, I'm never going to say this again. Maybe the crowd just didn't like it, or the delivery was different, or you have to put it somewhere else in the set, or you have to say this first and then they'll get it more. So sometimes you learn things.
There's a lot of quick thinking up there, isn't there? Hang on, this is not working. I need to refashion this.
Yeah.
Your second food memory takes us to Italy. It was your first night ever as an au pair.
Yeah. So I was an au pair in Italy for this lovely family on the northeast coast of Italy, so on the Adriatic Sea, which was so, so cool. And right after college, when I graduated college, I went there to do this for a summer. And I had only met them over like Zoom or over like FaceTime or whatever it was.
Skype?
Yeah, Skype or whatever it was back then, before the pandemic. And yeah, I remember getting off the plane, like I had arrived there sometime in the afternoon, like 3 p.m. or something like that, and was chatting a little bit with the mom and the daughter and or whatever. And the dad was going to come home from work or something. I don't remember, but I was like, I'm going to go up and take a nap because I had traveled from the U.S. all the way to Italy and I was tired. And so I took a nap, which you really shouldn't do for jet lag purposes. But I was dumb and hadn't traveled that much before, or at least not across the country before. So I did it and didn't wake up until like 9 p.m. And I was like, oh, crap, like I slept until 9 p.m. Like they probably think I'm rude, or like they already ate dinner, or like I haven't eaten, like I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I went downstairs and they were all setting the table and they were like, oh, perfect timing. Like you're ready just in time for dinner. I think they had waited a little bit for me, which was very nice. But yeah, she made this like chicken that had like olives and tomatoes. I don't know what exactly it's called, but it was like I woke up from this jet lag groggy nap to this like homemade Italian mom's meal at 9 p.m. with this lovely family of people, and it was so awesome. And I, with them even, was myself. I remember the first night, like there's a bit of a language barrier. Like the daughter speaks pretty good English, and that's why I'm kind of there, as I like teach her English and speak English throughout the summer, and I'm like her nanny basically. And the mom speaks like pretty good English, but not, perfect. And the dad's is like more broken and he doesn't really understand everything. So there's a language barrier. It could have been really awkward, but I just felt really free to be myself and be really silly and make people laugh and do like, I think I like did this like weird dance, or like I lip synced to like some song or something. Like, I don't know. I remember right away feeling very comfortable to be myself with these people. And then I ended up being their au pair for another 2 summers after that. Like I kept going back to this one family and they loved me and I love them.
Is making people laugh a default mechanism for you?
Yeah, I would say definitely. I think because I was like I mean, well, in that case, it's like I don't speak the same language as two out of the three people here. I don't know Italian yet. Now I can speak pretty well from living there. So I'm like, I better like lip sync and dance to this song to like make these people laugh. Like, I don't know. I didn't need to do that, but it's something that I do to kind of dissipate any like awkwardness by like being awkward myself, or like by being weird myself. Like, hey, there can't be any awkwardness here if I'm gonna like make a fool out of myself.
So you're taking control of the awkwardness levels.
Yeah, I guess that's a theme, is taking control. I guess I do that with stand-up, and I've done that with eating in the past. Luckily, I don't do that anymore, but yeah.
Why did you choose to be an au pair? What was the attraction?
I actually watched this movie called Call Me By Your Name with Timothée Chalamet. Good. So good. And I was like, well, that one has... I was like, I need to go to Italy and live with a family, not for the purposes... Literally. I was like, not for the purposes of like having a gay sexcapade specifically, but if it does happen, I'm open to it. But that's not the reason I'm going. I'm just going to live with a family.
Telling us, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
She wanted to believe that she's taking control of the narrative.
Oh my gosh, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. But yeah, I loved that movie, and it's just
that movie.
I watched it in college, my senior year, and didn't have like a job lined up. I knew I wanted to graduate from school and then move to New York to start stand-up. So I didn't really have any rush to like get anywhere or start a job. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to like spend the summer after school being an au pair. Like, duh.
But there was no au pair in the film. Was there?
No, but he was what do you call it? Like a scholar, like a visiting scholar or something.
Scholar.
So yeah, he was living, like the dad was not geography, whatever the rocks one is.
Geology.
Yeah, okay. He was like a geology guy.
Rock monster.
And takes on like a student to live with him and study with him every summer. And so that summer it was Army Hammer. And so I wasn't going to be a student, but I was like, oh, how can I go live with a family? I'll be an au pair. Because I had already, like, I was a babysitter. Like, I could do it. Easy. I speak English. That's all they want. They, like, want someone, a lot of European families want, like, someone to speak English to their kid, which I'm like, I can do that really well. I've been speaking English forever.
I want to go back to the first dish they made you. So it was just roast chicken with olives and tomatoes. Was there bread on the table?
Yeah, bread, and then you like dipped it in this like, because the chicken, I don't know if it was bread or maybe it was thighs, or maybe it was just like smaller things of the chicken and then and like the olives and the tomatoes in this like oil created this amazing sauce that the bread was then in. And there was like another like bread with like the bruschetta on top. So it was just this whole spread. And the whole summer was filled with meals like that, like crazy.
If we were to ask the child you au paired about you, what would they tell us?
She would say she is crazy. Like
Pazza.
Yes, exactly. Lei è pazza. That's what she would say. I would be like the girl in the videos that you saw, like doing crazy stunts and just being embarrassing, being a goofball. And I think I was like her embarrassing older sister or goofy older sister that she would act like Ellen, like stop. But really she loved it. And
encouraging you to keep going.
Yeah. And just laugh at all the stuff that I did. And I loved making her laugh. She just knows me as like that crazy wild person. Exactly. So that's what she would say for sure. Is that
what would the parents say?
Same thing. They would, and I'm not just. They have said this to me, and other people who know the family, like the family friends, have said this to me. So I'm not just saying this, but they would say that I'm their favorite au pair that they've had because they've had multiple. They've had multiple au pairs from different countries because they want the daughter to know multiple different languages. She's very, very smart. She knows like German, Spanish, Italian, obviously, English, French. Like she's had all these different au pairs from different places, and so she knows all these languages. So I was the favorite for sure. I think because I was just crazy.
Now, in my research of you, I discovered you have an OnlyFans account. Now,
Yes.
not the Rudy Nudie knocker shocker type, but the funny bunny comedy ha-ha type. What's going on here? OnlyFans has become a top streaming comedy destination?
Yeah, I think the idea for them, so I was approached by them to film. A lot of my peers as well have since been approached too about filming just like a little comedy special, like a 10-minute tape of your comedy. And we were paid pretty well to do it. And what we had to do was, perform for the taping, and then also have an OnlyFans account where you post like more of your comedy, maybe unseen stuff or like behind the scenes type of stuff, or more stuff from your like life. So it just kind of gives the comedian the opportunity to have their real fans like pay a little bit extra to see more of your life and more of your content. I'm not super active on there anymore. I sort of like fell off from knowing what to post about, because I'm really bad. Even on Instagram, like I don't really post everything I'm doing. I'm out there doing things in my life, and I'll forget my phone.
Like surfing on a wall.
Yeah, and that was just, the surfing on the wall thing again was just, I came home from dinner with my boyfriend and just did that to make him laugh. And then he was like laughing so hard, and he was like, oh my God, like, can you just do that one more time so I can get a video? And he like held up his phone. He's like, I just want to have that for me. That was so funny. And the video that you see on the internet is that take, is I just did it again for him. And so I was just doing that to make him laugh.
Well, let's reframe this conversation out of OnlyFans and into your third food memory. Now, we're back in Italy as an au pair. This time you're at the fish house.
Yeah. I don't really know. I should call it a fish house because I can't remember the word for it in Italian. I think it's like actually just casa di pesci or something, like actually just translated fish house or something. Where I was staying in Italy, or in the part of the country where there's water, there were these like little shacks, kind of like 1-bedroom houses that are just like shacks that are like on this like dock. So I got invited by a friend to go to this thing. Again, this is early on in the summer, so I speak some Italian, but not really, and was mostly getting translated what was happening by the one friend who still didn't speak that great. So a lot of the summer was experiences of being brought together by the food or by the event or by the thing, and not really by words, like you just had to kind of be there. But anyways, I show up at this like shack. I don't really understand anything that's being said, but everyone is so nice. It's very chill and it's casual. There's like a, I don't know, plastic, what is it called? Tablecloth, like plastic tablecloth over like a picnic table. They drop the net, pull it up. They get mussels out, let's say, from the net, put it in like this pan. We're all talking. We're drinking wine. The main guy, the main chef of the night, is like literally pulling mussels from the net that he just pulled out from the water, and is like putting them in the pan, adding some stuff, some bread is going. Okay, that's the first course. We have like paper plates basically. Throws that onto our plates. We're all still talking, we're eating. It's so delicious. They put the net down again, bring it back up, like I guess there's clams and mussels, takes those, puts them right into the pan with linguine or whatever pasta. It's like we have the spaghetti alle vongole, which is spaghetti and clams, and just fresh, like literally right out of the water. I just was so spoiled in Italy by experiences like this. The food was so fresh. Like in this instance, I literally saw with my eyes where it came from going into the pan. Like it was really, really cool. And everyone was so nice. And I just loved how casual it was. Like we were drinking this wine from an unlabeled green bottle out of like plastic little cups. And it was so, so chill and delicious. And they just kept pulling more like fish and shellfish and clams and stuff out of the water and cooking it and making these different variations of classic Italian dishes. And it was like so, so fun and so unreal. And I'll never forget that.
If your Italian wasn't great, how did the conversation roll? How did you, or are you all talking through food?
I listened a lot at that time to what people were saying, and I can pick up really easily. Like, I learned Italian over the summer and was able to speak it pretty well, and now I can speak it because I've been back there and I practice more on my own. But I was listening a lot, which I think as a comedian who is the one who's talking, like with a microphone at everybody, was actually really refreshing for me to do. I mean, it was very lonely and very frustrating at times when, as a word person and a joke person, to not be able to say this quick joke about what's happening. I just didn't have the words, and I would be like, fuck, I wish I could like say this, but once I can figure out the translation, the moment's already passed and the joke's not going to work. So having that happen was very frustrating, but it was also very like just a learning experience in listening and in absorbing and seeing what other people thought was funny and how other people were communicating and laughing with each other. I was also laughing too. There were funny things that happened that are just like a visual or a physical thing. And so that was really beautiful to be a part of those things.
Are you cooking this way these days?
I've made homemade Italian pasta a few times. I kind of went through a phase where I did it a lot, and now I'm like kind of, my arms are tired. I literally don't know how those like nonnas, like old ladies, like are pushing the dough around like that. I get so tired, and I have my boyfriend do it for me. Like at a certain point, I'm like, it's your turn. You need to like do this. I'm not doing it anymore. But it never turns out the same way as like the host mom would do it, like not even close.
You've chosen healthcare for all in the USA as your social cause.
Yeah.
Why do you feel strongly about this?
It's just something that, I mean, there's so many things that I think about that could be different or better with the world and with our communities. And I think it can get really overwhelming to think about all the things that you want to help or fix or be a part of. And then I end up not doing anything because I'm like, well, it's all too overwhelming. So this year I've decided like to pick that one thing that keeps coming back in my mind that I am really frustrated by. And I do know that, in the US, the number one cause of bankruptcy every year is medical bills. So people go broke in this country just by like going to the hospital. And I just think it's like so unnecessary, and there's insurance companies and systems that are put in place, and in the way that we do it is not the best for our people, especially with the resources that we do have being in the United States. And yeah, so just working to go to everything from the local council meetings to calling your representatives and stuff to make sure that we elect people who are working towards having universal health care for all be a reality in this country.
Ellen, before we go, now we know you use where people sit on a plane, what that tells you about them. We know you use what milk people put in their coffees to tell you about them. What would your surfboard tell us about you?
Well, it's a short board, I guess. So it would tell you that, I mean, there's so many things that it could tell you, but that I am adventurous and a risk taker. I'm risky, I guess. I don't know. I'm afraid of people who surf listening to this and being like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. So I don't know. Sometimes I am hesitant to say anything specific about surfing because I just do it to have fun. But some people out there are really specific about boards and waves, and I'm not really like that. Obviously, I'm surfing on my wall.
It's been proper, dude. Big thanks for joining me on TFM. Thank you, Ellen Harrold.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
That's it for this episode of 3 Food Memories. Be sure to spread the plated love and check out our 50 plus back episodes. They're still as delicious as they were when they were freshly poached. And if you loved this episode, text a mate and tell them all about it. For all things TFM, head to the socials at 3foodmemories and at Savas. For more info and to send us a message, head to the website 3foodmemories.com. 3 Food Memories is produced and edited by Lauren McWhirter with original score by Russell Torrance. Naste kalafili and bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Papa's podcast. Don't forget to